Last time we showed you exercises how to train cuts to 2 different openings at once, but cuts are not the only things we can do with swords.
We can also use the pointy end and deliver thrusts to our opponent. So let's dive in and see how this fits into our exercises program from last time. In order to do that, let's take a look at how thrusts in Maya's rapier system work.
Maya heavily relies on positioning and body rotation to deliver attacks both for cuts and thrusts. We have guards that we land in when delivering cuts such as Ox for a cut, the Nebenhut or the Wechsel, the point of the sword aiming away from the target. Just as we transition from guard to guard when using cuts, the same applies to thrusts as well. We also have guards we land in after thrusting, the point of the sword aiming at the opponent, such as the Ox for thrusting, the Flug or Eisenpforte. The aim is not to run through the enemy, but to put our tip into the opponent just enough to pierce viable parts and retreat, letting them bleed out. As for a thrust, we now move our sword in a long point position, rotating our body. We then rotate further and land in another guard used for thrusting. Moreover, we have 3 fields of attack, so the long point can be aimed at the upper target with a Gesichtsstich or Gurgelstich, the middle target, which is the breast, as a Herzstich, or the lower target to the crown jewels or Kuchi with a Gemächtstich. This doesn't mean that you can also hit the leg or the foot if you see an opportunity.
Now that we know how thrusting works in Maya's system, let's now take a look at 2 swords at once.
Like in the cutting video, let's first pretend we have a long sword and keep both hands closely together. You can take up a long sword and do this to get your brain warmed up. Then switch to your 2 swords and do the same. Move from one guard to another by rotating your body and stretching your arms to reach long point in between. We first stick to the hard thrust, so aim at the breast of your opponent. Once you feel safe, you can try to aim at all 3 targets by lowering or straightening your body. You should be familiar with this very fast, and we can proceed. Now it is time to untangle your arms. First, let's open our arms again to the guard we learned last time. 1 sword in Ox, 1 sword in Flug. From here we have 4 different possibilities. The easiest one is to deliver a thrust to the same target and mirror the guard. So we start in our guard on the left, move with both hands a long point to the breast, then land in our guard on the right. Reverse. Once we feel safe, we do the same thing with crossed arms. On both variations, the arms switch height, so your lower arm becomes the upper arm and vice versa. We then have the option to let our upper arm stay high, the lower arm stay low. Now on the one side your arms are crossed, on the other they are not. Practice this on both sides. You can expand this exercise again by aiming at all 3 targets, face, heart and lower abdomen. As a special challenge, let's do the Maya diagram with thrusts. With one arm this is easy. Follow the numbers with your dominant hand and thrust into a middle long point in between. Now for 2 swords. Designate one arm to be the leading arm. Choose your dominant hand to keep it easy. Follow the diagram with your lead arm as you would with one weapon by changing guards and thrusting into long point. Your other arm takes on the guard on the same side, but the other opening, also by thrusting into long point. For example, you start with your leading hand in right Ox, therefore your offhand is in right Flug. You then transition with your leading hand to left Flug, which means your offhand is in left Ox, and so on. Extra hard mode is then proclaiming your non-dominant hand, the leading hand. Now it is time for 2 targets at once. Since our guard offers this, let's focus on the upper and the lower target. As a first exercise, keep your upper arm up, your lower arm low, and thrust to the corresponding openings. Your arms will be crossed on one side and not crossed on the other. Reverse your arms and repeat. Now, aim at the same targets, but switch your arms. then the upper arms at the lower target, the lower arm at the upper target. Switch your arms in the process. Now it's time to mix things up. Try to get into a flow of different thrusts. Alternate between switching and non-switching your arms. Aim at all 3 targets. As said in the beginning, you can also aim at the neck or foot of your opponent.
Now you know how to deliver thrusts at your opponent with 2 swords at 2 different targets from various guards. I personally found this easier than doing the cuts with 2 swords, but I guess that's a personal experience. Next time we will take a look at how we combine double cuts and double thrusts after one another, and then how to combine a cut and a thrust at the same time. Keep practicing, you're getting there. Until next time, thanks for watching.